From YouTube covers to a few fading singles and to being part of Kylie's crew, Pia Mia rose from the small island of Guam, budded in LA during the Instagram era. Some may know her for her music, or others not knowing her for more than a pretty face with influential connections. Friends with influence and in high places, 9.9 million Instagram followers, and a great voice, but for some reason flew under the radar for many. No easy feat by leaving labels, being sexualized by the industry, ridiculed by fans, discredited, and preyed upon by older men in the industry.
I turned 18, and then he kind of started showing me that he liked me.
And right when he turned 18, he was like, I gotta get to her before everybody else beats me to this.
Plus, a little bit of Kardashian drama. Ask yourself, do you remember Pia Mia? Because I do, and I think she deserved so much more. It's your girl Cameron, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be discussing what happened to Pia Mia, another installment in my new series called What Happened To, where we explore the inner workings of artists that people have kind of forgotten about. So I'd been thinking about her for some time, and clearly some of you have too, because I got a lot of requests as well to do this. In high school, I definitely had her music in rotation. Yes, I actually did listen to the music, and yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Catchy songs, a nice vocal range, beautiful falsetto, she dances, she sings, and had a strong but to me unique image. It's easy to wonder how someone with the connections that Pia had didn't make it to the top. So buckle up, get comfortable, because we're going to discuss the beginnings of her career, tribulations, the quote scandals, and where she is now. She says, quote, "It may look like I went away, but I never left. Make sure you check out my Patreon below. I just released a full-length, hour-long reaction to SZA's SOS Deluxe. So if you want that, check out my Patreon. Hit that subscribe button down below if you want to support your girl. Thank you so much for watching, and let's just get right into the video. Chapter 1, Early Beginnings. Pia Mia Perez was born September 19th, 1996, and she's originally from the small island of Guam, a U.S. territory located in Micronesia within the western Pacific Ocean. And back in Guam, she developed a passion for singing through performing in school plays, weddings, and community events.
Up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be.
And she, like many folks at the time, started posting covers on YouTube in around 2009. But this was a crucial step for her because of where she grew up. I mean, it's already hard to get noticed in the States, let alone being from a small island that many people haven't heard of or can't locate on a map. It's a beautiful country, by the way. But she moved to LA with her mom in 2010 to pursue her singing dreams. And I always wonder, when people say they moved to LA at a young age and their parents just kind of up and left, I wonder about the logistics, right? Like how? With what money? Because that's no easy feat. So you almost assume that if you were able to do that, you must have some capital. But she does describe how they made that happen.
A lot of people think, oh, I just came from Guam and I just come from a really rich family, and that's not the case at all. When I came out to LA, I had a $10 a day budget. I lived in a 600 square foot apartment with my mom for 4 years.
As great as the internet has been in connecting all of us to one another and introducing us to new stars like Pia, day to day, the internet can be dangerous and quite hard to protect your personal information. And that brings us to today's sponsor, Aura. I want you to think about all the times you've received spam calls or text. One day last week, my boyfriend received at least 16 spam calls in one day. Have you found yourself second guessing whether their message was real or not, or waiting for an important phone call and answering an unknown number just in case? How did that experience make you feel? Well, today's sponsor, Aura, is here to keep your information protected and you alerted. Their data broker opt-out feature helps you remove any personal information from data brokers and people search sites that often sell your info to identity thieves and scammers. It's as simple as this. The less data of yours that's exposed online, the less likely you will get spam. And there's also other protection features that Aura offers, such as financial fraud protection, antivirus, password manager, and identity theft protection, just to name a few. And better yet, this is all accessible in one app, all at an affordable price. I'm not leaving myself and my family vulnerable to data breachers and brokers. And if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/CameronSuzanne to try 2 weeks for free. And that will be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal data has been exposed or leaked. So, thank you to Aura for sponsoring today's video, and let's jump right back into the commentary. Now, it's quite fascinating and a bit of a luck of the draw situation because shortly after she moved to LA, she booked a ghost singing gig with Disney within just 1 week of moving. But she got discovered kind of by Babyface in 2010.
I actually got discovered at Earth Cafe in Los Angeles by one of Babyface's producers' wives. So she came up to me and she was like, yo, would you happen to be a singer? Like totally random,
Right.
just out of the blue. And I was like, yeah, actually I am. We exchanged information, and that's kind of how it all started.
And at this time, she didn't have much control in the music she was making, but rather used it as an opportunity to learn the ropes of songwriting, the process of being in a studio, and crafting a song. And Pia Mia would then collaborate with Shake It Up star Bella Thorne on their song Bubblegum Boy, released December 5th, 2011. And some people did criticize it because it had a lot of autotune and sometimes you couldn't really understand who was singing. But later on, she'd be introduced to Chris Brown's manager, Booth Iam, in 2012, who also has done A&R work with Rihanna, Kanye West, and Jay-Z, just to name a few. Now, in the midst of this, she teamed up with Boo to create Wolfpack Entertainment when she was only 16, where she signed herself to the imprint and started working on her very first EP. So making some chess moves at a young age.
Called Wolfpack Entertainment. Started it when I was 16, so it's pretty cool. I signed myself to my own label and then through that signed to Interscope.
So this is all leading us up to her quote, big break. Now, important information stands here. Pia Mia became really good friends with Kylie Jenner when she moved out to LA. Again, it might have been a situation of being in the right place at the right time. Don't fully know how it happened, but it did. And because of this, there was a dinner that changed it all thanks to the Kardashians. So in August 2013, Kylie Jenner invited Pia to an intimate, star-studded family dinner with Drake and Kanye in attendance. And Pia sang her cover of Drake's song, Hold On, We're Going Home. But the camera was rolling and she sang it to Drake himself. And by chance, Kim K was the one to actually upload the family dinner moment to Instagram and the now memeable video of her a cappella singing to Drake.
I got my eyes on you. You're everything that I see. I want your love and emotion endlessly. I can't get over you. You left your mark on me. I want your love and emotion. 'Cause you're a good girl and you know it. Good girl and you know it. You act so different around me.
Did spread like wildfire, for good and for bad. But in this case, it definitely boosted her knowing power. And it became a meme because of its awkward nature, right? People said Kanye looked like he was trying not to laugh. Drake was awkwardly bopping along. Haley was kind of covering her mouth. Kendall looked awkward. It was kind of funny. And someone actually said, when everyone hungry is and you still on your bullshit. Because actually though, like maybe everyone wanted to eat. I respect it because take the damn opportunity. How intimidating does that have to be to sit in front of two of the biggest stars in the world at the time? And the amount of confidence that you have to have at 17 is no easy feat. And she said, quote,
And I was at a dinner one night with Kylie, and Kylie's like, oh, come to dinner. So I'm sitting there, and then it's Drake, and I was sitting next to Kanye. In the middle of eating my salad, Kanye calls me out and was like, Drake, like, she's a singer. Pia, sing something. And at the time, Kylie had heard the Drake cover that I had done, and it wasn't out yet. Yeah. Kylie was like, sing the Drake cover. Right. So I was choking a little, and I sang the Drake song for him, and him had like recorded me singing at the dinner table and put it on Keek. And after that, we dropped the cover on YouTube.
And despite any perceived awkwardness, the video gained over 1 million views. So her YouTube cover of Drake's 2013 song released on August 23rd, 2013. And also people gave her a lot of credit for releasing a pretty excellent feature. So I personally was introduced to her through that cover. And she released her first single, Red Love, on December 9th, 2013, which was a beautiful ballad that details a story about a young girl losing her virginity or giving herself away to the wrong person. And she really championed her vulnerability, saying, quote, "I'm not afraid to share my experiences. I never want to be offensive to anybody in doing that, but I'm here to speak what's really going on in the world for teenagers who maybe don't have a voice to say what they are going through, and maybe they don't know what they're going through is normal." And it's quite refreshing that in the era of teen pop stars, right, about the glam, the fluff, and the fandemonium, to have a potential teen female star itching to keep it real and honest and raw and vulnerable. Now, did it stay that way? No, because you do unfortunately have to play all sides of the industry. But it was nice that she had a clear intention and passion for her material at such a young age. So she dropped her first EP, The Gift, on December 23rd, 2013, with 8 songs that was initially free for download. And a few of my personal favorites from this EP was Lost and Found, Mr. President, Red Love, and her cover of Hold On, We're Going Home. Overall, the EP had a nice mix of pop, R&B, dance tracks, and slight trap and hip-hop influences. So she was proving to be quite versatile with her talent and her skill. And keep in mind her EP, The Gift, was released independently initially, but it would later be reissued on iTunes on February 2014 after being signed to Interscope Records. So they essentially re-released it under the label. She wanted to stay independent, but labels were knocking down her door, especially after that dinner. So she also felt at the time that she was able to snag a deal where she had more control.
Like I wanted to be able to have control over my music and my
and your
fashion.
look,
Just
yeah.
just my brand overall is really important to me because I like to be very hands-on.
And this, my friends, is the beginning of, I think, a career-long feeling and mission. And her label actually landed her a collaboration with Chance the Rapper called Fight For You, which was on the Divergent soundtrack in about March 2014. And she would also go on to release her second single, Mr. President, in May 2014. And following this, she started to work on her debut album, saying that she recorded over 100 songs between the span of 2014 and 2015. And spoiler alert, we don't get a debut album for a very long time. Put that in your back pocket, because when I say a very long time, it was a very long time. But otherwise, her star-studded collabs would not stop here, and they were just getting started. With the signature bandana, Grill and a Dream, was she on the rise? Was she on her way? So let's talk about her mid-career. So y'all have to understand, going through her singles and her small discography really took me back in time, because I used to really get down to her music, but it all kind of felt like an erased memory. So in the beginning of 2015, which was 10 years ago now, her track called Fuck With You released featuring G-Eazy.
And we're out here having fun, taking some pictures. I'm playing this side girlfriend.
And this was intended to be a single for her debut album with Interscope, but it was scrapped. Then in May 2015, she released her biggest single to date, Do It Again, featuring her besties Pedo Boo, Tyga, and Chris Brown, both of who I believe were in the midst of their collab album stint, Fan of a Fan. And it flipped a 2011 song called Let's Do It Again by J Boog, with some people I guess being triggered by Pia sampling it, even though she got full permission to do so. Again, this starts kind of the trend of people hating on her, like just to hate her. They said, pretty girl, let's hate her. I don't know. And the music video to me proved her star power. To seem seasoned in front of like 2 huge artists in the industry at the time. The video has amassed 619 million views to date. And this was a mini hit that would mark her only Billboard Hot 100 entry, making it to number 71. 1. Also received a platinum cert when it was all said and done. It also charted in the UK, in Canada, and on the Rhythmic Songs chart as well. So again, it was a mini hit. And comment down below if this is where you had your first introduction to her. I'm trying to see something. But down the line, she also released a single called Touch in October 2015, hoping to kind of build off of this momentum. And that single, I believe, was produced by Blood Pop. It kind of had this EDM shifting sound. You guys remember what Justin Bieber was making during his Purpose era? It followed a similar soundscape.
So touch me.
And around this time, she also went to tour and open up with Jason Derulo during his Australian leg. And in April 2016, she'd also feature on will.i.am's single Boys and Girls, which peaked at top 40 at the UK singles chart. And it was a hot song. I liked the avant-garde and futuristic nature of this song.
The girls wanna play with boys and the boys wanna play with girls.
Thought it was a good sound for her, but also different than anything she had put out at that point. And then she released one of my personal favorites that's still on rotation on my playlist today, We Should Be Together, in December 2016. I humbly think this is probably her best song, if not one of her best songs. And her momentum began thinning when almost a year later she did release a collaboration with Jeremiah called I'm a Fan. But the mini success just could never fully gain that momentum back. And random fact, did y'all remember that she was on an episode of East Los High in 2016? Did anybody watch East Los High? If you haven't, it's on Hulu. But also, career moves. A bit of a side mission happened at this time. Madonna named Pia Mia as the fashion director of her teen fashion line, Material Girl, with Madonna saying her creativity, confidence, and unique sense of style makes her a perfect addition to the brand. So she'd go on to help with silhouettes, designs, and really helping shape the brand at that time. This is further positioning her as an it girl, right? People are more interested in just her music, but also her fashion sense, and people in the industry were taking note of that as well. So now we have the separation. She would go on to part ways with Interscope Records and Wolfpack Entertainment in late 2017, which were both divisions of Universal Music Group, UMG. And it's been a recurring theme for Pia to feel trapped or clearly affected by little control over her art. The lack of creative freedom under the label was a huge factor in her decision. They consistently kept pushing the album release back to the point where, of course, they're not going to drop an album. None of her singles are tacking on.
So what's the name of the album?
We don't have the name of the album
Okay.
yet, but hopefully soon. We're just gonna see how Do It Again goes.
And then do we have a date on when the album might, or
Not-
kind of a season that you're aiming for?
I don't know.
And on December 15th, 2017, she released her second EP, The Gift 2. This was all released independently. So now we have the slow fade starting to take place. Now, Pia at this point hadn't stopped releasing music. She never really did. But in 2019, she released a single called Bitter Love, which was the theme song for a film called After. And in the same film, she had her acting debut as Tristan. So she'd go on to release Cry Baby as a promo single in June 2019. Afterwards, release a single featuring YG called Feel Up in September 2019. Another rap feature song followed called Don't Get Me Started featuring Gunna in October 2019, where all of the above singles were released under her independent record label, Cherry Pie Records. So she really had no issues in getting heavy hitting features. Like, she clearly had a level of pull, even independently, to collab with these names. So it proved that her industry connections still stood, right? They were still working for her, label or not. But another label shift ensued, where she signed a record deal with Republic Records and Electric Feel Entertainment in May 2020, right? So we're getting more recent. And she released her single Princess in May 2020 as well, which sampled Chris Brown's song Kiss Kiss. And I had heard this, guys. So at this point, I really wasn't listening to her music. I didn't really know what happened to her. I just kind of moved on. And it was very rap sing-y.
On fire, swimming in his money, he be calling me his highness.
It didn't really show her vocal capabilities, and it was very much okay. It steered very far from kind of what she was making. But I guess it did get a slight attention because some people liked it. You look at the comments in the YouTube videos and people were messing with it. She'd also go on to release her single Hot in July 2020, which was also supposed to be featured on her debut album. I mean, if you go look at that video for that, it was steamy, it was hot. And she would go on to enlist Sean Paul and Flo Milli to feature on the track remix in October 2020. And obviously, guys, a pandemic hit and it ensued. So around this time, of course, things slowed down, not just for her, but for everybody. And she's a queen of a little side mission. She did write a book during this time called The Princess Diaries, The Sand, Glitter, and Silicone, which she released chapter by chapter on Wattpad in 2020. Again, bookmark that, because that's going to come back up. And then in 2021, she released her My Side EP with singles 730 and Only One. It was her first EP release since 2017. And in the spirit of the holiday, she also released an EP called Christmas in November 2021. Don't worry, we will get to what she's doing now, but we have to go through some of the things that went wrong. Although she had a beautiful voice, in my opinion, a nice range, gorgeous falsetto, and I think she was out singing some of the girls at the time.
Look so alive. Turns out I'm not.
She had her dance moves, right? She had a stage presence, and to me, she had a unique look. Her features were very stunning, gorgeous, unique. And to me, I think she technically had the package. But it also seemed like she struggled to be fully associated with her music, or at least her fans didn't. I think she had two segments of fans. She had her segment of fans who adored her music, right? And then I think she also had a segment of fans that were strictly Instagram, that were strictly Kardashian followers who were interested in what she was doing outside of that. And if I'm being honest, to me it models or mimics similar to a Madison Beer. It's like this crossing the line between influencer and music artist where despite your talent, people just can't seem to marry the two. And maybe her target base wasn't fully resonating with her message and her image portrayal or something. I don't know. I mean, I liked her. I thought she was a bad. But I also think to the average person, it just maybe the branding wasn't connecting. And with a lot of new, pretty faces existing in the industry and popping up at this time, I don't think her music stood out enough, all right? I think she was a bit of a chameleon in a sense. Think about this being the time and rise of stars like Ariana Grande, Miley Cyrus's rebrand, Tinashe, Selena's shift into music full time. And this isn't even including R&B artists like Kehlani, SZA, and Janae, who were gaining a buzz as well at this time. Female artists were starting to really take the cake. And for example, there was a snippet of music back in 2013 that Pia released, and she sounded just like Rihanna. So she definitely knew how to adopt different aesthetics and kind of shapeshift. And her only two singles that also appeared on any type of chart, right, any big chart, was Do It Again and Touch, which was back in, 2014, 2015. And after that, her music appeal severely dipped. And again, it could have been from switching labels, which I hate the fact that labels fumble good talent, but when you keep flipping labels and then you do independently, the distribution changes in the way your marketing changes, and it changes plans. So it doesn't create a theme of consistently. It doesn't create a storyline. It doesn't create something for people to latch onto and follow. And I think that this hurt her. And as she got older, she adopted, I don't want to say she, her label adopted an even more sexualized image where she was forced to mold into the same role. As soon as she hit 18, and even before that, guys, people had concerns about her image. If you go to some of her old music videos, people found them suggesting, and that made up a good chunk of the comments. Some people making comments about, oh, you're showing your midriff, whatever. Dance moves, or even some of the subject matter. If you go to the YouTube comments in these videos, the comments are plagued with issues about her age and how she's being portrayed. And again, I do not know why you guys get mad at minors or people who are damn near minors in the situation, because it turned into people hating on the girl. And to me, I think who was on her team should get the lashings, if anything, if we're gonna make that an issue. And I do think they made her kind of grow up a little bit too fast. With lyrics like give you a late show like Letterman, it was a bit mature and often sexual in nature, even before she hit 18. And when I was doing research for this video, there was a video that popped up on the side titled Pia Mia on her sex life. Bare bones, guys. That was it. And it has 710,000 views. I think she was freshly 18. Were all these people listening to her music who clicked on that? Probably not. And the interviewer was actually disgusting.
Wear those to death, so now I'm wearing these gray ones, and I'm really feeling myself.
She already did a wardrobe change because she wasn't wearing this at the new 2 stage.
In the hood, don't they call those F me boots?
What?
Oh
my God!
You're giving him ideas.
You're aware that men look at you in that way. You're aware of that, right? Yeah, didn't I see someone like eating your face on Instagram? On somebody's Instagram, it says, somebody was like licking your face and it says, I eat ass and face.
This was how this girl was being talked to. Inappropriate comments, inappropriate questions for a girl who was barely 18. And people looked at that and decided, let's hate on her. Okay. Doing research, I started to kind of put the pieces together that this was an issue. And she's also one of those stars with deep and powerful industry connections, right? But Pia Mia presented more as a socialite. She became slightly conflated with the Kardashian family, and at this time, Instagram squads did rule, where influencing was on the rise, and people cared more about what you did in your personal life than your craft. And being a part of the Jenner Girl Squad, you are somewhat bound to the background or the potential revolving door of what's hot or not in their world. And not to mention, they attract drama like a magnet and they welcome it because that is how they sustain their career. So when you're around a family that attracts negative attention naturally, whether they want it or not, which I think they welcome it, you are collateral. And we'll talk about some of the drama that ensued. Some people only saying she's relevant because of Kylie. And I also think, based on the comments of videos and interviews, people perceived her personality in her online persona because of who she hung around, right? Pretty girl hangs out with the Jenners. I think there's this assumption of her being untalented or dense because of it. Many of the comments reading, wow, she's actually intelligent. Wow, she's actually kind of articulate. Wow, she's actually not that bad. And that makes you perceive that people didn't automatically like her or made assumptions based off of her image, which is not uncommon for that to happen with women, but I think a lot of it came with who she hung out with. And because also of her unique look, I think she was teased as well, because a lot of people do not look like her. People also see a beauty that's different from what is fed by the regular media. There were a lot of mixed opinions and dissonance around not only who she was, but her looks. I mean, some of the nasty comments with people saying she looked like this and she looked like this and she don't look right and she looks crazy like this was crazy to me. And again, I always thought that she was strikingly stunning. She kind of became a bit of a punching bag just for kind of being. And she had talent, guys. I just don't think like she was a good target to like make a point. So let's get into some of the scandals. This is where you need to get your tea glass, your glass of wine, something, because when I was doing this video, I did not think that there would be much to talk about here, but there is some stuff. So we're going to start with arguably the worst of it all, dating Nick Nack. So if you remember, we mentioned his name briefly at the beginning of the video. He was her producer back when she first moved to LA and got in the industry when she was like 15, 16, give and take. And keep in mind, Nick Nack, or Nicholas Balding, was born in 1989, okay? And Pia Mia was born in 1996. She said that they were both friends. She'd help him find girls, and
I would help him like find girls, you know, to possibly date or whatever,
Yeah,
you know,
of
the whole
course.
thing.
which also I was thinking like she helped you find girls. What girlfriends would she have at the time that weren't underage or barely legal? Okay, so that's weird. But he essentially waited for her to turn 18 to express interest.
We never had that chemistry of like, oh, we like each other. Like, it was never like that at all. We worked together. We were both in relationships. Like, we went through the ups and downs. I turned 18, and then he kind of like started showing me that he liked me. We were actually
Right.
at a G-Eazy concert, and he like held my hand, which we,
Yeah.
so he lives with, 6 guys. I'm sure you know Nick, right?
Yeah.
So they were all like my big brothers.
Right.
So I'm always like, they all carry me. Like, it's just very like brother, sister type thing. So I'm always holding on to Nick, whatever. But then this time he like rubbed his thumb over my hand.
Oh no.
And you know when you know,
Yes.
and my body heat shot through the roof. There was always something about Nick, but I didn't really like know what it was.
He always thought you're cute, but he couldn't do anything about it. And right when he turned 18, he was like, I gotta get to her before everybody else beats me to the.
Okay, and if you're an adult, you've been around the block, you can see what happened from a mile away. You can sniff it out. Right when she turned 18. The flip switched. That with Pia hanging out with the Kardashians at this time, it was already becoming a stirring topic and controversy that Tyga was dating Kylie, who I believe he was 25 at the time, she was freshly 18.
Mentioning Tyga, you're executive producing his album.
Yeah.
You feel like his relationship with your sister-in-law is inappropriate?
I think he got in early. I think he was smart. They in love, man. You can't tell nobody, you know.
So we were having more conversations, especially in that circle, about how predatory older men are. And it's quite sad to me how Pia Mia talked about it, because it's clear that she was young. She didn't see anything wrong or weird about it, as many teenagers or young girls in that situation don't. But it also seemed like the people around her also didn't blow a whistle or seem to think it was weird, right? It was very normalized. And I'm sure this also made her grow up faster and lean into even a more mature image, because you're dealing with mature people. With dealing with older folks comes other experiences. Dating wise, she'd also go on to publicly date Yankees second baseman Tyler Wade around 2020 and Tyler Yahweh in 2021. So those are like the main public relationships. Now, we're going to get into some stuff that I'm sure some of you guys are going to roll your eyes at, but it's relevant. So we got to talk about the saga of her and Kylie's friendship and them potentially not being friends, okay? Because this was a big part of her story. So as we know, her and Kylie had been friends for years, but people started noticing less appearances of the two around 2017. People noticed she wasn't in the Snapchat stories as much or appearing on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And I also guess some people were rumoring, okay, that Pia was Kanye's other woman. I don't know where I was. I never heard this at the time, but through research, this came up. And there was a source, an anonymous source, so take this with a grain of salt, that allegedly said that Kanye thinks she's young, fresh, and hip, totally his target audience. And he's been consulting her on a lot of his creative projects, including the Kanye Times APAC collection. Again, this was a source that told Radar Online this. Kanye's creative team was pretty shocked that he would use a teenager as his confidant, and Kim was actually kind of agitated by it because he doesn't usually want her input on design stuff, so she was a little jealous. While some people also speculated that maybe her and Kylie had been feuding over either Kanye or Tyga. And in response to any of this drama in tabloids, Pia said, Kylie and her family are good friends of mine. I tried to ignore the media, but let me make it clear, the stories are completely false. And in 2019, she also did shut that shit down in an interview with E.T., gloating about her friendship with Kylie, even at that time, saying,
Well, I always remember, Kylie saying she always wanted to be a mom, and, that she really felt like that's what she was meant to do in life. So I feel like it didn't really change. Like, Kylie is so mothering, and she's just such a sweet, loving person in general, and I just think that now it's just more.
And then are you spoiling Stormi?
Oh, Stormi is so cute. I saw her for her first birthday, and they did the whole carnival Astros. It was amazing.
And after the Jordan Woods fallout with Kylie in 2019 over the Tristan cheating scandal, people were connecting dots that maybe Pia Mia was throwing shade, making people wonder if her and Kylie had a bad falling out. She was even asked by paparazzi about that situation.
I know you're friends with Kylie. Do you think her and Jordan would be cool again? I mean, you would know.
I wouldn't. I can't. I don't know, guys. Everyone has their own journey.
Right.
Even though, again, this was kind of after the time that they weren't being seen publicly that much. And also, years later, Twitter was buzzing, also saying that Pia Mia and Jordan shaded Kylie after the alleged spat accusing Kylie of bullying Selena alongside Hailey. If you guys remember the whole stupid ass eyebrow situation, yeah, that one. Pia supported and shouted out Selena's beauty brand while playing a Selena Gomez song in the back. It was the timing. And then Jordan Woods also posted a video on Snapchat applying a rare beauty product and plugging the item. Again, that shit is stupid. This drama sounds dumb, but that was one of the first times I had heard of Pia's name again in the public. And then about 3 years ago, there are pics of her out with Scott Disick, who you guys know is Kourtney's baby daddy. What is this family's sick obsession with young girls, specifically Kylie's friends? I want to understand this. Really, it's kind of gross and pathetic at that point, because when I saw that picture, I said, what, why, who, what, when, where, why? And I didn't see anyone else around. I didn't see Kylie around. I didn't see anybody else. I just saw other girls. While in 2023, some people also thought that she shaded Kylie again due to a video she shared on Instagram, where she disclosed that some of the relationships she fostered in Hollywood felt very transactional, saying, quote,
And even if you're friends with someone for years, and you actually think that friendship is real, like the second that they think you're not hot enough, famous enough, making enough money, or whatever it is, you're kind of just like cut from the group without anyone telling you anything and without you doing anything wrong. Sometimes it just feels like you can only be associated with if you're hot in the moment, and I just obviously, like, that's not what real friendship and real relationships are. It's important to show that everything is not great all the time, and you can still come back from moments or periods in your life or career where you feel like it's not going the way that you want it to, and like you're in the out crowd and whatever.
And people immediately thought of Kylie, while people also noticing that they had unfollowed each other. So the fact that we just spent so much time, guys, talking about the Kardashian drama in association to her career is unfortunate, because her music, to me, was too good to be reduced to these headlines. Now, another scandal on the docket, kind of a mini scandal, was the Pussycat Dolls 2.0. So I guess around 2018, Pia was supposed to be recasted, I guess, as the Nicole in the Pussycat Doll re-up. And there were buzzings that Nicole and the OG Pussycat Dolls would have a reunion, but plans changed. And Robin Antin, who's the founder of the Pussycat Dolls, created a group called the Pussycat Dolls Next Generation without consulting the OG Pussycat Doll members. And Robin recruited Pia to be Nicole, allegedly. The reason why this was speculated was because A, the Pussycat Doll Instagram started only following Pia, and B, they had posted audition videos and Pia was there. And it's weird because there was a mysteriousness around this, because like when she was asked by paparazzi, she couldn't say anything. She was kind of being weird about it.
Are you working on any new projects right now?
Yeah,
Do you have like
working.
Do you have like a new music video that's about to drop?
I don't have a video that's coming out now, but
Okay, cause you're doing like rehearsals or something for a new music video or something, right?
I wouldn't say a music video, no.
Are you going on tour?
Just always working, always to be getting better.
Chris Brown and Tyga was awesome. The Do It Again, no new projects or no new titles, anything like for the fans to be.
Titles coming soon.
How's everything going with the new group?
I don't know what I can say.
You gotta know that's what you were up to the last time I saw you at the dance studio, huh? You just couldn't talk about it.
It's been so long.
Well, are you guys gonna drop new music or go on tour or what's?
Well, I'm always working on new music, so hopefully I can say more soon.
And even on a Reddit thread, there was a little anonymous tip saying she was going to be the Nicole of PCD 2.0, but I have firsthand knowledge that she was a nightmare to work with. Thought she was too famous / talented for the other girls, basically the entire Nicole scenario again. So I don't know like the full merit of this, but I felt like I would be remiss not to mention that. So those are a couple scandals. Again, there were little things here and there with like the suggestive imagery and things like that. Obviously the dinner party we talked about, but these were all things that kind of made up that picture. Where is she now? That's what y'all all came for. More recently in 2022, she featured in Sean Paul's song, How We Do It. She still lives in LA. Again, she travels back and forth from Guam. I believe her family still lives there. And for starters, she is a novelist outside of making music, which I think is dope. I think that is so cool. Her book, Sand, Sequins, and Silicone, dropped in stores in May 14th, 2024. This was, I guess, the short story or the book I mentioned earlier that she released chapter by chapter on Wattpad back in 2020. And the second book, Diamonds, Deception, and Destiny, will release on June 24th, 2025, and I think it's kind of modeled to some capacity after her experiences, so check that out. And she also released her debut album finally in 2024, guys, 2024, called Anti-Romantica, and the album stays true to her rhythmic pop, dance, and power ballad sound. So it doesn't fully steer from like what she was making back in the day. So if you did like her music back then, I think it's worth a listen. And she says, quote, "It delves into the beauty and friction between romantic ideals and reality, shaped by her experiences in Hollywood in the music industry," saying that she approached the songwriting process like writing in her diary. And I actually did take a listen to the album. I think there was a few standout songs. I do not believe that it was like the strongest body of work. I mean, when you think of people kind of waiting for 10 years, but a few of my favorites included Nice and Slow, Sugar, Wonder, and Justify. I like her sound when she's leaning into like that throwback R&B sound, or even with an island feel. There was a few songs on here, you know, she's from Guam, but there was a few songs on here that kind of had a nice like chill, relaxed island vibe that I think fits very well in the soundscape of today. And Nice and Slow to me kind of sounded like a Tyla song too, so it was very in. Overall though, I was very happy to see that she finally got to release that debut album, so congrats to her. She does say that there's more projects and more music, live shows, and romance novels coming our way. So that's what happened to Pia Mia. And a lot of memories were unlocked for me, so I had a lot of fun doing this. What did you guys think? Is there anything that I missed? Any fun facts? Another one will be coming soon. Again, we're going to be doing these a lot more frequently. Hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 100K. Happy New Year. And I will see you guys in my next video.